Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the to-bes of tomorrow. We have lived a certain understanding about interviews. That understanding may eventually turn out to be a little primitive, but it's just a stepping stone to discuss further the issue. We have made a point that interview is a formal communication. It is also a formal behavior. Probably it is a test of formality. Is that so? If you do that way, this is for the interviewers, with due respect to all the years you spent and great achievements, personal achievements you have had, and great leadership achievements you have had, the fact remains that if you make it so frigid, so overly formal, you're going to lose life out of it. And it would require a courage, it would require a concept, it would require a philosophy. Even for the senior ones, it will require a philosophic change to be seated in an interview, to observe people and not merely pass opinions. Again, to the seniors, with due respect to all your experience, all your achievements, the fact remains that it is so easy to give opinions and so difficult to make a comprehensive assessment. It's not going to be very easy. Now back to the interviewees. Should you believe that interview is a formal process, a formal assessment, it would also have a very formal deduction. It would have a very formal deduction. It's like a psychological test. And I am an all-time critic of psychological test. A negative critic. And let us borrow a lot of wisdom from here. In a psychological test, the designer has assumed a certain fact of life, and he wants to check whether the goodness, the rightness, and the wrongness from your perspective. But there is a bias of a kind. Therefore, his question may not be representative of different segments of society or the weighted average psyche of the society. Neither of these. He belongs to a segment that he represents, that he personifies. A segment of thought, segment of belief, segment of doership that he belongs to, he personifies. Not a very happy situation, isn't it? And based on that, hundreds and hundreds of people lose out or make a wrongful gain. But we have no alternative than to make a mistake, even if it is. Therefore, psychological tests are rampant, the most economic way of getting closer to the person. But as was the case that making a test was not everybody's job, assessing the test result is also not everybody's job. Again, going back to the analogy with health industry, human body is a standard thing. Psychology is not. Psychology is not. So everybody secretes bile juice. Everybody secretes pancreatic juice. There's no division on that. But in psychology, it doesn't happen like that. Not everybody wants to put the top button here. Not everybody wants to wear a tie like this. Somebody might like to hang the knot a little down. Not everybody likes a pocket here. So standardization, expecting a standardization is a very dangerous ploy. At least I request the young people, young minds, to go with elan and be yourself. To go with elan and be yourself. Over a period of time, you will become much more a cult figure in interviews, among the interviewees than not. You'll become a cult figure, and I'm going to help you enrich that perspective, that thought. I'm here to enrich that. New generation, new enthusiasm, new wisdom. When I say new, I mean majority of the people who would be following this channel would be people who are just about going to attend their first interview of life. And very few among the people who take interviews would be interested in this because they don't want to formalize the process. They don't want to restructure the process. They don't want to remodel the process. That change is not so easy. It doesn't come so easily. It's definitely not forthcoming. It'll require extra effort. Oh, did I hear that right? Did I hear that right? Did I see what I hear? Did I hear what I see? Did I feel what I saw? Did I feel what I heard? No, we now belong to a group of achievers. So why should we do it? Why do we do it? We are all over with our wisdom. Learning. We are all over with learning of wisdom. We have closed our books on wisdom. Back to the interviewees. It is going to be a formal communication. It is a formal communication. It is also, therefore, a direct communication. What do you think about democracy? Do you think a large country like India should continue to have democracy? Yes or no? Objective, formal, direct. Would you like to keep a certain number of functions reserved for women? No, sir, that will be detrimental. Yes, sir, that's a good idea. Are you saying this because you are a lady yourself? Or you would have said it even if you're a man? Yes, sir, because I'm a lady, I thought. Very objective, very direct. The wisdom of creating these direct investigations. You go back to the detectives and see how indirectly they try and gather the data. They don't get the data directly. How indirectly they get the data. And that's something that should be visibly moving for all the interviewers. Back to interviewees. It's going to be direct. It's going to be formal. It's going to be straitjacketed. At least for a while. So a little later we are going to see the subject interviews, the knowledge interviews, the personality interviews, the aspiration interviews. There we can have less formality. So on the subject interviews, we are definitely going to have a formal direct assessment. So 10 is 10, not 10.1. 10 is 10, not 9.99. It is 10, it has to be 10, it will be 10, it should be 10, it must be 10. A bit about a generation gap. I believe the way in which internet has influenced our life, Google has influenced our life. It means so many priorities are going to be different. Our priorities are going to be different. We're going to be talking much more about learning than reading. Because everybody reads. It's so easy to read. Our emphasis is going away from reading to learning, and to learning, from learning to being conscious. So given the blast of possibilities, given easy access to knowledge and data, why we should be talking about competing on the data knowledge is there. Google becomes a central figure, a central reference. Everybody knows it, so no questions about not knowing it. The question is of application. So reading to learning, learning to consciousness, from consciousness to right strategic applications, from applications to results. In the age-old days, competency of a child, if you look at the first 100 child, 6-year-old child, a competency model for a child was his memory. Memory was one of the most vital competency that was required. So genius was the first-handed boy who could recall spellings, he could recall tables, he could recall a general awareness, currencies of country and the languages of the country and the value of a currency maybe, on the graph on that day, that time. Now, a modern education system, a modern education policy, if you take a look at the modern education policy, even in a place like India, it's now focusing on problem solving. Because those knowledge, those data problems are no more with us. The data problems are not there. Now we are looking at problems, as in problems, and solutions to those problems. Those may be problems related to rehabilitation, problems related to education, problems related to emancipation, problems related to driving people into a faith, morality, anti-corruption, better administration, quicker court judicial results, so on and so forth. So, direct questions. If today some interviewer has a daring to ask a data question, I'll be not so amused. You're outdated. You're absolutely outdated. Especially if you consider those answers as vital, essential assessment, the decisive assessment about a candidate. You're absolutely out of order. There's always something to learn, something to get adjusted to. And I believe all the senior ones who will be sitting in the interview, please, they will pleasingly accommodate the fact that knowledge is no more, data is no more the substance of our living. We have a central library easily available to us on a click of the button. The question comes now: learning, consciousness. So may we, all interviewees, become conscious of this fact that even through subject training, what they will assess is your learning ability, your intelligence, your strategic application. So with this, may I sign out for this episode. I'll come back to you with more. Till that, wish you all the best, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and so with this, may I sign off, ladies and gentlemen, for this episode. So with this, may I sign off for this episode. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and to-be's of tomorrow. See you again next time. Thank you.